Democracy wins in Ohio, and Ron DeSantis is still really bad at this. The breakdown starts now. Good evening and welcome to The Breakdown. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is the Rick Wilson, and it's a slow news week in August. No.
Oh, yeah, not much going on.
It's not.
Pretty quiet.
Usually, right? Like usually by now, this part of August, there's like tumbleweed going down Pennsylvania Avenue. Everybody gets the hell out of DC and things are quiet. Those days are so far from over now. It's Donald Trump ruins everything, including August recess. So that gives us lots of stuff to talk to you guys about. And boy, do we have things to chat about tonight. We have the big vote in Ohio where democracy won on the ballot. We've got DeSantis is it another reset, reload, something or other. Fired his campaign staffer. We're going to talk about that.
Restart.
Right.
Somebody said, and I kind of modified a version of it. He's rebooting more times than a computer with Windows Vista.
Oh my gosh, right? That's very
for the olds among us.
Yeah, very circus 2002. What else is going on? Oh my gosh, the Republican primary candidates are still scrambling to find their way and qualify for the debate coming up. So there's that. And then also we're still on indictment watch number 4 in Georgia. And Donald Trump is out here acting a damn fool on Truth Social, attacking the prosecutors. It's a mess. It's a mess. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight. But of course, we have to start off with last week in the Republican Party. Take a look.
I'm being indicted for you. Thanks a lot.
And Trump is the victim.
We're going to start slitting throats on day one.
I've got plenty of stabbing videos right now on my computer.
You want a smart president. You don't want a stupid president.
I'll vote for Donald Trump if I have to vote from the jail cell.
I used to represent people charged with murder, and people would, I never got ostracized. I mean, and I was never for murder or anything.
Never scored.
They don't score.
Why? Because they're too busy on the woke agenda.
Because I would see him with his wife having something around his neck every night and walking around. She doesn't let him go to the, she lets him go to the bathroom by himself. That's about it.
The latest German Shepherd, the anti-police dog, clearly a Democrat.
But I've been canceled. My books are not allowed to be sold at the Martha's Vineyard Chilmark Book Fair because I defend Donald Trump.
You're saying the dog is a Democrat?
I'm saying the dog is a Democrat.
And the amount of hypocrisy is too much to take, Maria.
There you go. All right.
That's probably a lot of sugar, huh?
No one man has been more persecuted for standing for this country than Donald Trump himself.
Drips down slowly, slowly. You have suds, beautiful, nice, wonderful suds.
I think the age of consent should be lower. I don't even really believe in the concept. You want to know why? Because marriage is consent.
I really believe he's mentally ill.
I'm not calling for violence. I'm not a violent person. What I'm calling for is for people to realize that there is a Second Amendment for a reason.
I've come to like him, and he likes him, and that gets us through 18 holes of golf.
President Trump have been pretty substantially behind. And you
not here.
They have something on Mitch McConnell. There's no way that he's doing this. They've got something on Mitch McConnell.
Rough month for Mitch McConnell.
You know, there's a great quote on January the 7th or 8th where Mitch McConnell's chief strategist, Josh Holmes, was quoted saying, if we can duplicate Trump's appeal to rural voters, then we can have a permanent governing coalition without the insanity. Mm-hmm. But the insanity was always the point. So there you see Mitch McConnell, a guy who's done more for the Republican Party as a party than Donald Trump ever did.
Ever.
And you may not like Mitch McConnell. He's an unlikable person. But you have to acknowledge he is a skillful leader of his party when he's leading it. but he's not leading it anymore. He's a passenger on the Trump train. And of course, you can never win with Trump world. You can never win with him. And so he gets yelled at. He's a 90-year-old man getting screamed at. Yeah, the exact quote is, if you can replicate his draw among rural working class voters without the insanity, you have a permanent governing majority.
Yeah.
Well, that phrase was wrong in so many different levels. But the reality is McConnell is now in the finding out phase, just like many other people in this party are in the finding out phase. And we're learning that none of this stuff is moving the numbers for the rest of these guys, except down.
Right. Exactly. And the idea of replicating the, rural working class voters and all of that, David Brooks wrote a whole piece that created a lot of buzz about this, and that it's really actually the elites that are running this, that they're the ones to blame here. And it's an interesting piece. And then our good friend
Tom those elites.
Yes. And then our good friend Tom Nichols had a retort to it. Anyway, it's a fascinating dynamic about what it is about the Trump coalition, who makes up that demographic and how you reach those people. It's clear that the other Republican candidates can't figure that out yet. And but what is also clear is that the Republicans in these state legislatures who are overstepping, they've gotten themselves all worked up into a lather, getting all this power, and they keep trying to do things that undermine people's rights and changing the way democracy works. Like, that is so anathema to what Republicans, small government Republicans, like I used to be.
Right.
What this was, imperial governors and imperial presidencies. Like, that was never supposed to be what we believed in as far as governance. It was supposed to be about
we hypothetically believed in bottom-up governance.
Correct.
We believed that local governance was better than county governance, and county governance was better than state governance, and state governance was better than federal governance. Well, now people like Ron DeSantis, are utterly power mad, and like the Republican legislature in Ohio, which we'll get to, they're absolutely crazed to do whatever they want. They want total executive power. They want no restrictions. They want everybody else in the political process to either vote for them or shut the hell up.
Right. And what they did in Ohio, what they tried to sneak in there, this is actually good news for democracy, folks. We're always doom and gloom because there's been so many attacks on our democracy, and we're always like, it's a threat, we're going to lose it. Well, guess what? Democracy won again this week. And Ohio, which a lot of people have now written off, used to be kind of a blue-purple state. Now, now it's pretty red. Well, democracy won because they had a ballot initiative where the Republicans were trying to make it more difficult to amend the Constitution there, the state constitution, because there were legislators that wanted to put abortion rights, women's rights on the ballot and make it and codify it in their Ohio Constitution. And Republicans were like, oh, no, we're going to change the rules and make it more difficult for them to do that. Well, people paid attention. Grassroots organizations got together and they notified people and said, whoa, look, this is what Republicans are trying to do here in the state. And it wasn't just Democrats who voted. There were a lot of Republicans who crossed over.
Huge number of crossovers.
Huge. That's right. Our political team broke it down. And it was like counties where Donald Trump won was like plus 20% Democratic, went for the ballot measure to knock that down. It was remarkable. I believe it won 57-43. And they did it. The Republicans are so sneaky. They actually changed in Ohio. They were like, no more special elections in August because nobody pays attention. There's low voter participation. We're not doing any special elections in August anymore.
Right.
Until it suited them. Then all of a sudden there was a special election in the first week of August,
Correct.
Hoping that people wouldn't participate. It's a passive voter suppression method. And it didn't work. It backfired for them. Good for democracy. Bad for the authoritarians.
And what it showed you folks is another lesson that we've been talking about a lot here for a long time. And that lesson is that our former party will do everything it can to retain power. And what the Republicans in Ohio were doing was trying to make it much more difficult for citizens to put a ballot initiative on the ballot and get it passed. They did not want a ballot initiative that would roll back their extraordinarily strict bans on abortion and on and the one of the strictest anti-abortion laws in the country.
That's right.
They wanted to make sure that it had a very high bar for passage. Well, Their mistake was putting this on the ballot in the summer, thinking everybody was asleep, because the folks in Ohio, led by David Pepper and Blue Ohio, and many other groups, they were not asleep. They weren't asleep in Kansas last year. They weren't asleep in Wisconsin. They weren't asleep in a lot of other places. And this is a sign, I think, where there is a moment happening out there, and it's not just about Dobbs. It's about the size and power of government in your life. Mm-hmm. And that's why folks have a real opportunity to pull some of those folks that we appeal to a lot, the Bannon line voters, the former Republicans, the soft Republicans, to pull them across the line and get them to join a coalition that is going to wreck the shit out of these people in 2024.
And that line is growing. It's growing, which is really fascinating. And people are acknowledging that. Republican strategists are acknowledging that they don't call them Bannon line voters. We kind of took that term and made it our own, because it was Steve Bannon who said it in 2020, that if you get between 4 and 7% of Republicans either not to vote or vote Democrat, Trump doesn't win. So we said, okay. And now that hold our beer. And now that line, since Dobbs, we believe, got bigger, up to maybe 11%. Yep. I've heard some Republicans say now that it's up to 20% of Republicans that are like, we're not voting for Trump. We're not doing this crazy. And if that's the case, great. That gives us an even larger pool of people to appeal to, because it shows that there are people starting to wake up and realize that what's going on here ain't all right. There's nothing normal about this. This is a direct threat to people's daily lives and their livelihoods. So, not okay. Now, what we did was put out a really powerful video about the power of particularly women. When women stand up and say, no, we're not doing this. Take a look.
They want us to feel defeated. They tell us there's nothing we can do to stop a Republican wave. We proved them wrong. In one of the most conservative states in the country, voters, led by a quiet army of patriotic, determined women, said enough to radical Republicans invading our privacy, our bedrooms and bathrooms, and our liberties. They want us to be scared, but we won't back down. We will keep fighting. We will keep voting. And there's nothing more American than that.
There you have it.
Yep.
Who was it that said it's a 5-alarm fire? What happened in Ohio for the Republicans?
It was in that article that Sohi Kapoor wrote for NBC today, I believe.
Right.
Talked about Republicans like confronting the fact that this is potentially going to blow up their Senate map in 2024. Mm-hmm. They thought they had a chance to retake the Senate, and now they're like, "Uh-oh, what am I going to do?"
Yeah,
because you can't. Because Chris Hayes mentioned it in his monologue. I was just told. But look, here's the thing: the dog caught the car. The state legislative bodies that went out and passed these 6-week bans, these multiple doctor requirements, and all these things. It's having a real world impact, and frankly, not a pro-life impact.
Right.
It's not making people feel the sanctity of life. It's making them feel terror that their 10-year-old daughter who is raped can't get medical care.
And that was Ohio, right? That was Ohio where that case happened, and that really woke a lot of people up, kind of shook them into the reality of what's happening here. No matter how you felt about the abortion issue, that really drove it home. And I think that was a huge driver of a lot of votes, Republican women votes last year during the midterms.
When you get down to it, Tara, when you get down to it, in American policy fights, the side that overreaches typically is the side that starts losing.
Mm-hmm.
And the Republicans didn't just overreach. They went so far beyond where voters, even in conservative states like Florida and Ohio, were, that their pollsters, I know for a fact, Ron DeSantis' pollster begged him, like crying, begging him, please don't sign the 6-week ban. Please don't do this. In the general election, we will get slaughtered. The numbers are 80-20. And that means an awful lot of Republicans were against the 6-week ban.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, F you, I'm signing it, because he is a culture warrior and that's his thing.
Well, that's his thing, but it's not working for him.
It may not be his thing for much longer, because there may not be a thing to be had with Ron DeSantis a whole lot longer, because the reboot, restart, recapitulation of Ron DeSantis, at some point, you can't keep spinning Puck and everybody else to write the next story of the next definite game changer, totally going to fix the entire problem in the campaign. Don't worry about it. Ron DeSantis has got this under control. And now, as our friend Jeff Timmer says, he has fallen below the Ramaswamy line in the polling.
Yes, he has.
Third after Vivek fucking Ramaswamy.
I know. He that guy, I'm going to talk about him in a second. The woke message is not resonating. I was starting to tell you that CBS has a poll out that shows in Iowa that Iowans are like, yeah, we're not really trying to mess with that woke school thing and all of that and gender. No. We're worried about law and order. So that's why it's not resonating for him in the places that he needs it to resonate. And he can reboot, reload, refire, whatever he wants, all he wants to. It's not going to work for him. This week they tried now, after we just talked about a reboot, they just fired his campaign manager and replaced him with a new one. This guy, James Olsmeier,
worked on any kind of campaign ever.
Completely inexperienced.
Like everybody else, Tara and I started out in campaigns. You do the local stuff.
Yes.
You do the sweaty stuff. You do the door knocking, and you learn at every step of the way more skills.
That's true.
And being in politics is a rite of passage, and there are things that don't exist outside of campaign world, and inside campaign world is a different thing. And look, I'm 59 years old. I'll be 60 in November. And I've been doing this since I was 1 minute out of college. I've been doing this much longer than any other human being you've known, except for Stuart Stevens.
Yeah.
And it is a unique world. It requires certain kinds of judgment and skills. And if you've noticed, Ron DeSantis is not exactly a guy who is, shall we say, willing to learn. Or to have people who surround him who are willing to tell him the truth about what's going on.
No. And that's obvious because all the moves that they've made, none of them have resonated because it's not that. It's him. It's the candidate. And you and I have both worked for people where you kind of know, like you go in thinking, all right, the person they're running against is terrible. Let's see if we can get on this campaign and help them out. But then you get in a week or two and you're like, oh God, this
ain't gonna change.
They're not gonna change. They're gonna be the worst. And well, here we go. We can try our best. You just can't. If either a candidate has it or they don't. And Ron DeSantis does not have it. And we have said this. We've been telling people this. We warned them this.
A year and a half.
So I guess maybe they thought we could. We have a suggestion. Maybe you can send Ron DeSantis to charm school. Maybe that'll work for him.
Maybe charm school would work.
It could work.
Presidential charm, the DeSantis method. When interacting with the public, be sure to turn on the charm.
Stop coming up to me, talking to me. What are you talking about? I'm not here working with people. Are you blind?
Friendly.
What is that? An icy? Yeah, that's probably a lot of sugar, huh?
Fun.
I'm here. I don't know. The other one's out there. I'm not friends. Okay, all right. It's good. All right, we'll say hi to everybody.
When interacting with the media, it's important to be polite and congenial.
How would they know me? Okay, think about that. Do you honestly believe that's credible?
Strong.
You better ask an on-topic question because I'm not answering anything that's not about the economy.
Confident.
I'm sick of the judgmental stuff.
It's important to be prepared for any situation that might come up on the campaign trail. Even a runny nose. Yum. Whoopsie.
Yeah. Okay, don't back down. It smells really good, I'll tell you that.
Wow, great job, Ron. Everyone enjoys a good story, so make sure you tell a good one.
My mom, or my wife.
Perfect.
Someone left a bunch of balls, and then she was in the next one. So we're hitting, and I noticed the balls, but I noticed her, right?
Riveting.
What time is it? It's gotta be
past 10 o'clock. Your kids are going.
7:15. Yeah, it's too late to call my wife.
With these simple steps, you'll go from being a presidential candidate to not being a presidential candidate in no time.
Right, Ron?
Shout out to Jeff on the creative team, man. He nailed it on that one.
Well, you're right though, Tara. There's a certain part of this that's a natural ability. It's a natural gift. And look, Trump, for all I despise him, he is a natural entertainer.
Yeah.
He is the gift. He has it.
Yep.
And Barack Obama had it. And Ronald Reagan had it. And look.
So did Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton had it in ways that were really dangerous for him. He often had it so often that it got him in a little bit of trouble. But I'm going to stop right now because I know what happens when I start. Hey.
That's really good, Rick. That is a really good Clinton.
My Bill Clinton imitation is my best presidential imitation.
That's very good. It's better than your Trump one.
Oh, yeah, by far. By far.
But yeah, it's an it factor. And even if you don't like people, you at least fake it. You know, there are some people who run for office that are like, I can't stand these people. But they know how to turn it on, and they're good bullshit artists and make you believe it. But Ron DeSantis is not that guy. It's so obvious he can't stand being around people. Nobody.
Well, and it just speaks to this whole illusion of the primary, because the primary is an illusion. We talked about last week and the last time we were on, the primary is an illusion. They're trying to make a horse race out of horse manure. They're trying to build this thing into something that's not really happening.
No.
And you've got dolts like Mike Pence and weirdos like Vivek Ramaswamy and wannabes like Nikki Haley and Tim Scott. So Tim Scott, I wrote about this in The Hill this week. Tim Scott will be the next one to rise.
Right. That's right.
Where they'll say, oh, Larry Ellison's giving him $50 million and he's going to go and give an affirmative, positive vision of America's future in Iowa.
Please. We might as well just set it on fire.
And Trump will say, I don't think so. I know all about you. You're like the Black Lindsay. Or he'll do some crazy
in more
shit.
Ways than
and he'll bring in all the things about Tim Scott.
Yeah.
And it will just go off the rails, sideways.
Again, I already told you this. He's the obligatory black guy in the GOP running this time around. And, you know, it was Alan Keyes and it was Herman Cain and it was good God. And then it was Ben Carson and now it's Tim Scott. Like, it's just stop. Okay. He's never winning. I have a story to tell about Vivek Ramaswamy before we talk about Mike Pence.
All right, a Vivek story. I don't even have any Vivek stories.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you real quick. Oh, but before I get to that, since we're still talking about Ron DeSantis, I just want to mention really fast that in another attempt to try to distract from how shitty his campaign is going, he fired another democratically elected state's attorney in Florida, Monique Worrell. Your friend Andrew Warren, you know Andrew, right? And we had him on. Yeah, we had him on the breakdown last year when DeSantis removed him. Again, these are elected DAs in Florida. And now he's moved on to a black woman who was elected overwhelmingly. She's a progressive, overwhelmingly elected in the Orlando area. And because he's claiming that she wasn't tough enough on crime, and he bitched about a couple cases that he claims that she didn't prosecute tough enough and blah, 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 blah. A lot of it, she wasn't even elected at the time.
Right.
Or they were cases where, sentences or bail isn't set by the prosecutor, it's set by the judges, things that are very deceiving, just an excuse to try to take her out and replace him with a crony. This is not okay. Again, this is not okay. It goes back to our original conversation about an imperial governor.
Yeah. One thing I learned this afternoon, I heard from somebody who told me, a Florida legal person who told me that there are Republican state attorneys who have a lower conviction rate than she does.
That's correct.
Who've dismissed just as serious crimes as she has. But and that was my first point out, they happen to be white Republican dudes. I wonder what the difference could be. It's a mystery.
It's so obvious. And it's again, anyone who wants to scale up Florida, take Florida as an example and scale it up. Do they?
Please
really?
Don't.
Please
Trust
don't.
Me. I live here. Please don't.
So I'll tell you about Vivek. So this week was a music-filled week in my household. I went to go see Pink on Monday night at National Stadium, which was amazing. She's freaking awesome in concert. I love her. She's so badass. And then Tuesday, my husband and I went to the 50 Cent Busta Rhymes concert at an outdoor venue here in the Northern Virginia area. And we felt like a bunch of geriatrics. Everybody there was like under 25. I got called ma'am, and my husband got called sir a couple times too many. It was awful. I mean, I was like, who are they talking? We were looking around, who are they talking to? Sir, I like your music. What? Oh my God. Tailgate beforehand. And like, it was, anyway. So while we were sitting there, my husband's on a little grill and I'm drinking a beer. And this guy walks up, a clipboard guy. You know, we've all done this on campaigns when you need to get signatures for stuff. You know, clipboard guy walks up. He couldn't have been more than, I don't know, in his early 20s too. And he goes to my husband first and he says, "Are you a registered voter in Virginia?" And my husband's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, would you like to sign this petition to help stop Donald Trump?" And he was like, "Talk to my wife." Because my husband was grilling. He didn't have time for this.
Right.
So I'm like, "What's going on?" He comes, he goes, "Well, would you like to sign this petition to help stop Donald Trump?" I said, "What's the petition for?" And he said, "Well, you know, in Virginia, it takes 10,000 signatures to get on the ballot for ballot access. And no other Republicans except Donald Trump are going to be able to get on that ballot. They're never going to get all those signatures. And, you know, we want to give them some competition." So Vivek Ramaswamy, and then I didn't let him go any further. And I said, okay. I said, "Let me tell you something right now." I said, "I'm not signing anything for Vivek Ramaswamy. He's a 9/11 truther, conspiracy theorist prick who wants to get rid of Juneteenth. And he disrespects all of the people who died on 9/11 and who went to serve after 9/11 with his conspiracy theory bullshit. So you can keep it moving." And so he was like,
"What you should have said was, do you really want to party with me?
Nice.
For me.
Nice.
Put your hands where my eyes can see.
Nice.
Wildin is the place to be.
Yes. In God we trust.
In God we trust.
Nice reference.
Us.
Nice reference there for all of you who don't listen to Busta Rhymes. That was a Busta Rhymes lyric. Thank you, Ari Melber. So with the lyrics. So anyway, he kind of looked at me and he was like, "Yeah, but you know, at least," I said, "No, you're never going to convince me. Never, never. He's a conspiracy theorist and he knows better and he should be ashamed of himself. Have a nice day." So it dawned on me that he was actually trying to take advantage of a lot of the young people who were there that maybe not have been paying attention, just to get them to sign on so they could get on Vivek's, mailing list and get him on the ballot. And I thought it was very deceptive. And I just thought, you got to be kidding me. And then I find out that this guy, he wants to get rid of Juneteenth as a holiday because he says, "Well, what do we need another black holiday for? We've got Martin Luther King Day." I've got news for him. He's darker than I am. And those redneck racists will string his ass up in half a second too. So no matter how he tries to act and try to dismiss racism and all of that, I've got news for you. They'll come for him too. Quick.
Yeah. This whole act of his, of "I'm against the wokeness" and all that. Guess what? Those people who hate minorities in this country, I hate you too, my friend.
Exactly. He's not an exception because he talks their bullshit. So that's my rant about Vivek. Mike Pence this week, in the last 10 days or so, I guess one of his balls has dropped a little bit and he's got taken on Trump. You know, he took his jacket off. He did interviews with just a tie. He did the Jim Jordan. And, Trump was like, he asked me to choose him over the Constitution and I chose the Constitution. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. So Trump has gone after him on Truth Social. He's calling him all kinds of names and saying that he's, sad and all this and that. So Mike Pence, who qualified for the debate, by the way, shockingly, he got enough, barely squeaked by to make it for the debate, onto the debate stage. I think 8 of them now. He puts out this video to make him just look like a regular guy, that Mike Pence. Watch this.
Hey, everybody. Mike Pence here. Remember $2 a gallon gas? I do. And then Joe Biden became president of the United States and launched his war on energy. Since that time, gasoline prices are up 60%. Electricity prices are up 25%. Joe Biden's war on energy is causing real hardship for working families, small businesses, and family farms. But we've got a plan to relieve all of that. We just unveiled the Pence Energy Plan that'll not only put our country back on a path to energy independence, but by 2040, we will reclaim America's role as the leading producer of energy in the world. Join us in the fight for American energy leadership by going to MikePence2024.com. We can lead the world once again to a more prosperous and a secure future for America with energy independence and American energy leadership.
As an ad maker, I have some notes.
Yeah.
Just a couple notes as an ad maker. I've shot, I don't know how many 100 of commercials of the guy with the truck or the gas pump or whatever. All right, first off, the lav mic is a bad look. It looks
it should have done a boom.
Secondly, Yeah, exactly. Secondly, the gas lid, the gas tank lid was open when he got out of the truck. Right. Thirdly, it's beeping because, of course, he never pressed a button. He wasn't pumping gas.
No.
Fourthly, and I did tell a reporter this the other day while they were asking him some questions about it, and the reporter that was interviewing got kind of mad at me because I said to this person, "Tell Mike Pence you can see his nipple ring in the video because he has something in his pocket." And she writes me back. She goes, "I hate you so fucking."
Rick, you gotta warn me. When as soon as I took a sip out of my dark Brandon 2024 cup, by the way, I almost lost it.
Hold on.
Yes. Well, I just got this today in the mail for the Biden campaign. They have a dark Brandon 2024 mug, which I thought was awesome. I had to get it. Yeah, because I like my coffee dark. That was a great video, by the way. Did you see it? The Biden video for this? It was great. Perfect. Anyway, yeah, Mike Pence.
Poor Mike Pence.
Pence.
But then again, here's the thing. Mike Pence bought the ticket. Now he's taking the ride. He's going to come in. Watch what happens, folks. This weekend, he was hectored and screamed at by evangelical voters. Yeah. Mike Pence sold his soul to the devil. He thought the Republican Party was the Christian party that worshiped Jesus and the Lord. They do not. They now still have the branding of Jesus and the Lord, but their God is Donald Trump. And so that's why Mike Pence is going to come in, I'm going to probably say 7th or 8th in Iowa. He's going to get wrecked in Iowa.
Yes.
He should leave. He should just go testify. He should go on a book tour. He should go, he and Mother should go down to Tulum, take ayahuasca, dance in the moonlight, do whatever it is they do when they get all loose. And
I don't think that's possible. Those are some tight asses, man. I don't think that they're ever prying them open. I swear to God, they are some tight ass people. Those are Pences.
Just think about Pence and Mother at the base of an Aztec pyramid.
Oh, God.
Tripping balls, buck naked.
I don't want to imagine that. I don't think Mike Pence takes his clothes off ever in the dark. He's got to have a tie or something on, or like, khakis or some shit. I don't know. Oh God, this is so going wrong. This is going way out of the way.
I'm Mike Pence and I'm running for
president. Stop it. Oh God.
Last week was a little serious, folks.
I know. We had to get back to laughter does good like medicine. I wonder if Pence hung out with Jerry Falwell Jr. and all. Maybe he gets advice from him. I doubt it's scriptural. But anyway, okay. So
pool boy.
Oh Lord. Well, speaking of pool boys, Donald Trump is still in a lot of trouble. And today, both of his co-conspirators in the Mar-a-Lago case pleaded not guilty. I think it was today or yesterday. Pleaded not guilty. The pool guy that helped allegedly flood the pool room that had the server in it to get rid of the surveillance tapes. That guy, De Oliveira, he still can't really find an attorney in Florida, shockingly. So he's trying to delay things, and what a bunch of bullshit. Okay, total bullshit. But whatever.
Let me just say this: Florida's a pretty big state.
Yeah,
we have a few lawyers here, more than a few, and I'm smelling the high odor of BS coming out of Mar-a-Lago on this one.
You think? So there's that. And then also, I don't know if you saw this, Rick, but the video that Donald Trump's campaign is putting out directly attacking Jack Smith, Fani Willis down there in Georgia, making these outrageous accusations against her. Just like ridiculous character assassination, trying to, again, poison the jury pool. All of this is after he was admonished by the judge, warned, do not witness intimidate. Do not do this. What does he do? Big FU to the judge in DC, and is out here pushing the limits on Truth Social, attacking Jack Smith's wife, going after Fani Willis with nonsense, putting out campaign videos, calling Jack Smith deranged in videos over and over again. I think it was John Heilman who said that the confessions are the what did he say? Projection. The projection is the confession, right? all the time. Everything he accuses all of those people of, being stupid, deranged, sick puppies, blah, blah, that's Donald Trump describing himself.
These people who are constantly like, everyone who opposes Trump is a pedo. Everyone who opposes Trump is a socialist. Everyone who opposes Trump is a Chi-Com shill. I mean, the amazing thing is the projection of all their anxieties and all their stuff and all their weirdnesses and all the things they don't want to confront about themselves. It's front and center with him every day. He's their id. He says the words that are in their tiny little brains, and they just love it. And again, that's why the primary is an illusion.
Yep. Every projection is a confession. That's
every projection is a confession.
Yes.
And if you don't think that Trump understands how to play this game, think again. He's a much more sophisticated player than people think.
Yes, it's debate 101, right? And when I was in college, my political communications professor said, when you're losing an argument, there's two things you can do. You can go ad hominem, or you substitute the issue. You accuse the other side of something else or of what you're doing, so that people think that when you call that side out, it takes away, deflects from what you're actually doing. That's what Donald Trump does every single day, every day. And more people are calling him out on it. But his cult followers, they're so far gone that they believe everything he says. And they continue to undermine the institutions that are supposed to hold him accountable, like Jack Smith and the criminal justice system. So that when it does happen, they're like, oh, it's a conspiracy. Oh, he's the victim. Oh, blah, blah. Just like what happened out in Utah, right? You think that these words don't matter? They don't have consequences? Of course they do. You get some wackadoo right-wing nutcase out in Utah that wanted to assassinate Joe Biden and Alvin Bragg and talked about it profusely online. Guess what? The FBI and the Secret Service caught wind of that. He was on their radar, and they went out to serve him a search warrant, and they ended up shooting him dead because, listen, he said he was going to shine up the rifle, and he was.
Oh no, he was. They came to his house the first time, and he posted right after.
In March.
My 45 was ready to take you all out.
Right.
And he's posting things that he's going to put on his ghillie suit and clean off his M42 rifle.
And he'll be ready for them next time.
Maybe today will be the day I kill the socialist Biden. All this crap.
Who was coming to Utah, by the way. He was going out to Utah, so that mattered. And they ended up killing him.
This guy, he's 75 years old, and his blood is on Rupert Murdoch and Donald Trump's hands. This is the same kind of insanity that led to Ashley Babbitt charging at police officers trying to get at Nancy Pelosi and got killed for it. And this guy lived in a bubble driven by Facebook algorithms that turned him into someone who I'm sure his family didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
I'm sure they thought his conspiracy theories were insane and ludicrous, but he kept staying in that bubble because the algorithm drives you deeper and deeper in the rabbit hole. So every day he was told, Joe Biden eats live babies. He's a socialist who's seizing the means of production, and he was going to come to your house and personally fuck your dog or whatever it is.
And take your gun. And take your guns.
Take your guns. And so you end up with a person like that who does not have a coherent reality that he lives in anymore.
That's 100%.
He lives in a bubble created by Rupert Murdoch and by the algorithm of Facebook, which feeds him the poison he wants.
And Twitter now. I mean, it's a cesspool.
Listen, 90% of the time when I'm on Twitter now, I block, I don't know, 150 people a day now.
I know, me too.
Because it's just
so
like,
bad.
oh, you're a blue check who immediately jumps in my timeline and says, hey, commie, or hey, pedo. You're blocked. It's just gone. You have nothing to say.
That's why we're over on Threads now. We hang out over there a lot more.
You know what Threads is? Pictures of my cat, pictures of my dogs, and pictures of my girl.
Yep. And with a little politics mixed in, but it's it's not. It has not become the sewer that Twitter is now, and it's still useful until it isn't. And Elon is just becoming more and more of a horrible person. And we found out this week, speaking of Twitter, that Twitter was subpoenaed by Jack Smith. And Elon Musk did not want to cooperate because they wanted, the special prosecutor wanted to check out Donald Trump's Twitter feed and Twitter account to see what they were communicating there. over January 6th, who's part of the conspiracy. And Elon didn't want to do it. He wanted to tell Trump that they were doing this. And so Jack Smith had to escalate it to a judge. And a judge said, no, you're going to keep it secret and you're going to comply. Elon is just horrible. And he's over here liking horrible white supremacists and crazy cuckoos on Twitter also. I mean, he's just a horrible guy. I cannot. But I will watch the fight between him and Zuckerberg. I won't pay for it, but I'm going to watch it somehow.
Listen.
How ridiculous is this, actually?
Here's the thing.
Good God.
I think Mark Zuckerberg in the last couple of years has decided he's going to try to be less of a weirdo.
Yeah.
So he's gotten fit. He's learned to use tools. He's out there, training for MMA fights or whatever. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
But Elon Musk's showmanship in this thing has been so bad and so Trumpian. It's like, I will fight you. And once I get an MRI to make sure my neck isn't stiff.
Right. I saw that.
You know what?
Yeah.
If you're going to fight, why don't you some bitches just get a pair of dueling pistols and go at it the old-fashioned way like men?
Oh, my
20
God.
paces, seconds, and a doctor nearby.
Oh, Lord. Well, those are billionaire problems. And another billionaire. Oh, we were talking about Trump going after the prosecutors, right? And I was really pissed off about this the other day on MSNBC, because I found out that, as if Jack Smith wasn't already a badass in my mind, but this guy's competed in over 100 triathlons and completed 9 Ironman competitions. Did you know that?
I did know that as of the other day. And I was like,
yeah,
you know what?
Yeah, this guy is focused. He's disciplined. He is determined. He's a competitor, and he's unflappable. Everything Donald Trump is not, which is why
that's exactly right. He's the total polar opposite of Trump and Trumpism.
And that's why I called Trump an ignorant, gelatinous fool who is everything that Jack Smith is not. And people were very they were tickled by the fact that I called him gelatinous. So is Elon Musk, but that's why I remembered that. But they're both gross and undisciplined jerks. And one of the other things that Donald Trump's team has done, his lawyer, this guy Jack Lauro, is out here basically admitting that Trump did the criming, and they're trying to justify it. Take a look at this. It's nuts. Where does he get these lawyers?
Most successful criminal defense lawyers never grant television interviews. Never.
Ultimately, what President Trump said is, let's go with option D. Let's just halt. Let's just pause the voting and allow the state legislatures to take one last look and make a determination as to whether or not the elections were handled fairly.
That is a Trump criminal defense lawyer quoting Donald Trump committing a crime.
And then at the end, he asked Mr. Pence to pause the voting for 10 days, allow the state legislatures to weigh in, and then they could make a determination to audit or re-audit or recertify.
What I hear when you play that clip of John Lauro saying, Donald Trump just said, let's go with option D. It's Donald Trump said, let's go with criminal option D.
A defense lawyer who makes a statement on behalf of their client, that is an admission.
I don't know why John Lauro chooses to talk, but he should probably stop.
Yeah, you think?
You think? Maybe.
Did I call him Jack Lauro? John Lauro. I had Jack on my mind.
Look,
it was Jack
and I asked a pretty smart attorney friend of mine who knows him slightly.
Yeah.
He said, look, the guy he's not the riffraff they normally get.
Yeah, I heard he's supposed to be a decent lawyer.
But he's also not a guy who's ready to play in the big show.
Clearly.
And who clearly decided, I'm going to be booked on all these shows for the first time in all these national programs that won't have any impact on my case.
Loves the attention, like a moth to a flame.
Right.
Burned by the fire, though.
And all that, blah, blah, blah. Sorry.
Yep. And Trump is out here running around trying to act like I didn't do anything wrong. It's First Amendment. They're trying to attack me for First Amendment. This is political speech. Political speech is protected, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you know what? No, that's not what you're
speech
being.
in pursuit of criminality is not
right.
protected speech.
That is correct. And our creative team took us down a trip down memory lane for all of us Gen Xers who will remember this infomercial very fondly. We had the Lincoln Project twists on it. Check out Conspiracy Now.
Today, an indictment was unsealed.
It's here. Now, that's what I call conspiracy. Volume 3. 78 of the hottest indictment charges from your favorite superstar president. And still technically not a criminal. Like conspiracy to violate civil rights. Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Obstruction of an official proceeding. And conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Collaborations with hot new artists like Co-Conspirator 1.
Let's have trial by combat.
And we'll throw in his bonus lyrics booklet just released. Now, Volume 3 has the best of today's court docket topping hits and all the charges from the classified documents case, including obstructing justice, making false statements, and of course, retaining classified information.
Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers, except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. These are the papers.
Yeah.
See, as president, I could have been less. Now I can't, but this is
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Dozens of incriminating and for some insane reason recorded tracks, such as 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in a hush money scheme.
When it comes time for the financing, which will be... Listen, what financing? We'll have to pay you, so... No. I got... No.
Order now and get all these hits. Or order in a few weeks and we can squeeze in a couple more from an upcoming indictment in Georgia.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
Now, that's what I call Conspiracy, Volume 3. What's that? Volume 4? What? Oh, Volume 4. Guys, how many of these are there? Why don't I just record all the numbers, just because this keeps happening? Save us some time.
Yes. Now that's what I call
conspiracy.
Now, oh my gosh, I think I had the original CDs when that.
Oh, I've got a bunch of the old that's what they call music.
In fact, we
were talking about this ad in production meetings, and I went and I dug one out. It was from 1998. It had Quad City DJs. Come on, ride that train.
Yeah, yes.
Ride it.
Yes. Come on, ride the train too. Yeah. They were awesome. That was for everyone that's under 25. That's before streaming. When you actually had a disc that you put in a disc player, and you had some things in your car that had 6 CD changers, which is a big upgrade in your car. If you the 5 or 6 disc CD changer. Oh my gosh. Anyway, great work by the creative team. Like I said, we have to insert some humor in this mess to keep us from losing it completely. Well, Rick, I think we've expended all of our energy on this for this week's edition of The Breakdown.
Next week we'll have a special breakdown called The Erotic Stories of Mike.
No, that's never happening. That's never happening. I don't ever want those images again. Okay, never. It's bad enough. You've got nipple rings and we've got asses and everything. I can't.
I call this the playroom, mother.
No, I protest. No. But what you guys can listen to is Rick's podcast, The Enemies List. Make sure you check that out. He's always got cool guests on there. If you want,
very soon you will have The Breakdown as a podcast. We're working
on it. Yes, we're working on it. Working through the technical difficulties of doing that, but we are getting there. So you'll be able to listen to us in the car and hopefully not drive off the road when Rick talks about Pence's nipple rings. On that note, folks, we'll see you in 2 weeks around the debate time. That's going to be fun.
Peace.
Take care.